Hey guys, this is GamerGal. Welcome to the 25th set of our Pokemon Trade Card Game Draft. Gonna try and be a little bit quieter during this one because it is quite late at night, but I really just want to get this done. This set is relatively exciting, to be honest. Kinda hard to pull from though. A lot of cards in here, even if 28 of them are their own subset in here. That still leaves a lot. There's like 144 cards in this set or something. So, good luck, really. We've had a couple of absolutely ridiculous drafts off of this so far though, so I am fully expecting just to get the dregs of everything here. But so long as we can get like maybe a couple of the cards I'm looking for, we could probably be okay. The biggest ones really is this Slowking, because I really want to play Dark Slowking with this. It'll be such a good thing if we can pair that up. And then specifically Steelix would be the EX I would want here, because Lugia is already in rotation, and if we could make LBS, that would be ridiculous. But yeah, we're going to have to trade big for this, but if we can get it, that would be really, really cool. There's some other really good stuff in here as well, like there's Umbreon, which is our first Evolve and Gust option. We've had some flip coin ones for that in Victory Bells, but this is the first time we're actually seeing it that way. Yeah, everything else, like Bliss is kind of cool too, but basically everything else we just have to see as we go, so just not really wait any longer with it. We've got some promos and Fiend Deck stuff, we'll go over that when we are done, basically. I just want to open cards. So, first off, there's some interesting noteworthy bits in here. Pepper seems to think this card is decent. I kind of don't like it at all, but I can sort of see where he's coming from. If there's no energy on it, it has no retreat cost. So the idea is that you play this as a pivot card. I think you can do better than that. I think Fluffy Berry stuff is going to make this obsolete, and you just play better cards instead of this. Citrus Berry is a pretty cool one. There's a lot of stipulations on like every tool card in this set. The stipulation here is that it has to be a non-EX, non-dark, non-owner Pokemon. So no Dark Tyranitar or Dark Steelix or anything like that. But it is Oran Berry plus 1. If you've got at least 3 damage counters on it, you heal 30 and discard the Citrus Berry. So I don't have Oran Berry, so this is pretty good for me. Armverse has Energy Connect, so it's the same as the one from Expedition Base. You move as many basic energy from your bench to your active as you want. Its attack is terrible though, like 50 discard lightning and do burn confusion is awful. So you probably only play this as like a 101 tech line or something. I don't know, don't really see it. Curse Powder, stipulation here is an evolution, it isn't an EX. And then that evolution that isn't in the X has to get KO'd in the active spot by damage, and then you put 3 damage counters on the opponent's Pokemon, the attacking thing. Woof. That's a lot of conditions to put on this thing. It could be a good deterrent, but it probably won't be. Seems kind of bad. Quagsire here takes less damage from evolution cards, which is pretty good, so it's effectively 100 HP on this thing, but it's not too damaging, so probably not that scary. Maybe with Solid Rage it could be okay though. We'll have to see. Speaking of, here it is. So Solid Rage stipulation is an evolution non-EX, and if you have more prize cards left than your opponent, you do 20 more damage. So we're already running with Scramble Energy and stuff right now, right? So this is just another one of those tools where you could just go like Scramble, Solid Rage, and suddenly you're doing crazy damage out of nowhere. Energy Root, stipulation here is non-EX, non-dark, non-owner, and you gain 20 HP but can't use Pokepowers, Pokebodies. This is another card I want like 4 of in here, to be honest. This is excellent for any deck that you can jam this in, really. Think of the Executor that we played, right? That was like fragile at 80 HP. Bump this up to 100, it's really good. We see this nowadays with Big Charm. And there's a format with Tool Jammer and Tool Scrapper. We don't really have discard tools for that right now, so very strong card. Hitmonchan over here, so everything that evolves from a baby Pokemon, with the exception of the Clefairy line, has a Pokebody that when it is an evolved Pokemon, it gets a bonus. In this case, it strikes back, you do 2 damage counters if you get damaged whilst active. I don't think you ever play it for that. The only thing you would play this card for is Upward Kick. If you have 2 damage counters on the thing you're attacking, it does 50 for 2 on a basic is actually kind of good. It's a lot of conditions you gotta set up though, so probably still not very good. What does this unknown do? 2 Psychic Energy? Yikes. If it has a Pokeball or a Pokeball, you choose up to 2 basic. To 1. That seems awful. Why would you ever do that? You're giving the opponent's active energy to do attacks against you. That's why. Darkness. Speaking of why, Darkness Energy and Metal Energy are back in this set again, even though they just got reprinted last set. So they're gonna clog up the rare slots as always. Nothing else of note here, unfortunately. So let's just move right along. Hitmonchan goes to 100 HP if it's an evolution card, but its attacks are terrible, so nobody really cares. Is Corsola any? I forget if Corsola is good. Search it out for Water Fighting. Yeah, it's kind of okay, I suppose. Yeah, on the Swoop Teleporter engine you could maybe justify that. Warp and Cyclone Energy come back in here, so we do want to see a couple of these to complete our playset. Smeargle would be kind of neat if it didn't have the non-EX stipulation on it. You effectively just get to switch a basic energy from one of your Pokemon with one from the discard pile, so if you play multicolor decks this is kind of good. Blossom is interesting. There's a Blossom that comes out later on in this era. I think it's in the very last set, Hold Phantoms actually, which you could play with this. If you have at least 3 Blossom in play, it does 100 for 3, or 100 for 1 if it's a boost energy. So that's pretty strong. The catch is it's fragile, right? 90 HP really isn't a lot, so I don't know. I don't know if you can actually justify it, but it is kind of cool. So maybe there's something that could work there. Boost Energy also gets a reprint, which is weird. Ho-Oh Ex is why I'm annoyed at the Smeargle here. It's got Rainbow Burn, so very cool, because it's the same sort of thing we've seen before with that 10+20 for each type of basic energy that's on this card. It also has an inbuilt recovery method. If it gets KO'd by damage, you move 2 energy that's on the Ho-Oh to any of your other Pokemon. So you could move it to another Ho-Oh and just keep doing lots of damage. If you had enough of this card, it's actually kind of okay. But I don't think anybody else has pulled it, so I don't think we're going to see enough of it, unfortunately. 110 HP is big though, so there's some cool stuff with that. Fluffy Berry, it's Floatstone. Stipulations are non-EX, non-dark, non-owner, but it is a Balloon Berry that does not get discarded when used, which is amazing. So very, very strong card here. Definitely going to see some play. Energy Evolution Eevee would be really cool if it wasn't for the fact of all the evolutions of Eevee that you care about are the EXs that all have coming into play powers that do not synergize with this. So, unfortunately, wrong format, buddy, but glad to see you're not on the coin toss anymore. Second Energy Route is really good, so we definitely want to see that. This Yanma would have been neat if it was like free energy and not a coin toss or something. If heads 20 to each of the opponent's Pokemon. On the basic is really strong for 2 energy, but it's on a coin toss, so good luck. Grand Loop is interesting. You probably just play Plusle though, rather than that. But in a swoop deck, maybe you could justify it. I don't know. Another Quagsire. Grand Ball has an energy discarding attack on a coin flip. I suppose if you're into that, that's kind of okay. Smoochum, just 1 damage counter on one of the opponent's Pokemon, but the Jinx it evolves into has a decent effect, so there's that. Apom I've seen in some decks here. Pyukumuku I think is what it is nowadays. Draw a card, then bottom deck this. We actually saw this, kind of. We didn't. This is like the farewell letter unknown, except that discarded itself. This just puts it at the bottom of the deck, so I guess it's somewhat neat. Moving on, here's the Jinx actually. Warp Energy's there too. Reversal gets another another round, whatever. So if Jinx is an evolution card, it has Shield Dust and no weakness. so you can only damage it directly, which is kind of fun. Look at that attack cost though. Water's Psychic Colorless. Double Rainbow is okay here because it does put damage counters down, but like, why? Why would you do this? Seems so bad, right? Could you justify this in like a Blastoise deck or something? Probably not even. 4 damage counters isn't that much. But it is anywhere on the opponent's board. Who knows? Jolteon, so all of the EVs that are not EXs in this set, they have a 1 energy acceleration style attack of their own respective type, and then an attack that does 40 plus 20 and a status condition if you have 3 different types of basic energy on. In this case, the status is Confusion, which is decent. The actual acceleration is pretty bad though, because it's on a coin toss. Yes, it's from the deck, which is technically the best place you can accelerate from, but again, on a coin toss, not really going to be worth it here. Also, 70 HP is like super fragile, so you need to use Energy Root with this, I think. 3 pretty good cards to talk about here. Protective Orb, stipulation is evolved non-EX, and it blocks weakness, so if you're using a Pokemon that is like constantly hit for weakness, say Dark Tyranitar, which is usually hated out on by the fighting types, this is really solid, so good card. Solid Rage, I think we may have already had, but in case we didn't, stipulation is evolved non-EX again, and if you are behind on prizes, you do plus 20 damage, which is also super solid, so very nice to see that. And then we got Houndoom. So anyone who's played Gen 7 will know Gengar Mimikyu plus Omastar as a real pain in the butt deck to go against. This has the Omastar part. If you have less Pokemon to play than the opponent, then they can't play non-supporter card trainers. So this actually lets you lock stadium cards in play, which is super important to note as well. So you can massively disrupt the opponent with this. Flamethrower is a decent enough attack. Tide Jaw is kind of whatever. It's a bit frail, but you can get around that. I swear, this freaking thing is glued to me here. This is the worst EX I've ever read. Celebi is just garbage, to be honest. Different effects depending on if you flip heads or tails. Is like it affects your opponent on heads, affects you on tails. It's a 70 HP stage 2. Not even stage 2. It's a 70 HP 2 prize Pokemon. I don't need to say more. What does this unknown do? Return it in all energy. Oh my god, that's awful. Yep, never seen play with that one. Alright, moving on. Oh, Typhlosion's kind of neat. This is the 3rd energy route that we see here as well. Oh, maybe that's what you do with this thing. Alright, so Typhlosion. You put damage counters on each active Pokemon between turns. So it includes itself, but that's okay because it's used to fuel Rage, which is 50 plus 10 for each damage counter on it. So the idea is that I guess if you use citrus berries and oran berries and stuff, you could maybe keep this alive, manipulate the damage math so that your opponent gets KO'd and you don't from rage based attacks. Kinda neat. Or you could just turn it off with Energy Root. Have 130 HP rage Pokemon available. Seems kinda good too, right? Okay, second third, let's see what we can do. We have the Curse Powder we've seen, Electabuzz we haven't seen yet. So if it's an evolution card, then it has Gladeely's effect, where special energy attackers do 40 less to you. That's quite significant, so maybe this could be usable that way. But Luster Blast is just very difficult to power up. If you are an evolved Pokemon, you can play Boost Energy with this and use that as the discard cost. But that's a limited resource that you've got to have every time, and it only does 70. It's not even enough to score knockouts and stuff. It just seems really weak, to be honest. We do have ourselves a Feraligatr over here. This is somewhat cool. Intimidating Fang is really good against spread decks, so I actually haven't mentioned that like any time this has really come up, but yeah, this is good against decks that do like 10 damage to all of your dudes, right, because you just negate that. Pull Away is an okay attack. We've seen this on a few things, but I think mostly the Mighty Enna. Thing is, this has got 120 HP, so you can kind of use this a lot better in that aspect. Tonnage also doesn't do a ton of damage here, unless you damage yourself. So maybe with Citrus Berry you could justify that, where you do the 80 and then Citrus Berry heals the 30 that you do to yourself. Kinda cool, I suppose. Macargo, There's a couple of dual armor cards that we see in this era where if you attach their secondary type of energy to them, then you have both double attacking types, which is kind of neat. But the base damage is just so low that it's not even worth it. 70 to an EX is kind of decent, I suppose. Other than that, yeah, just no. It's really not worth it. Moving on. Klepper makes a return here, except it does not have the baby rule this time. Also only gets 6 cards. That's fine though. Maybe as a sweet teleport thing you could play this as a one-off. I could see it, to be honest. Moving on, because nothing else in there is worth noting. Second Klepper. Yay, I suppose. I don't know. Next. Are you kidding me? 3 in a row? Really? Okay. Guess that's what... Oh, you have got to be joking. Another Typhlosion is somewhat neat. But seriously, another Celebi Ex. This could have been the Steelix. This could have been the Lugia. It could have been anything. But nope, it's the worst card I have ever seen. Alright, moving on. Oh, now there's actually a really interesting one in its own right. Typhlosion Ex. So when you evolve into this from hand, you count the number of the opponent's bench Pokemon and then search your deck for that many fire energy and attach it to one of your fire Pokemon. Really neat form of acceleration, to be honest. Kindle's also kind of okay. Like 4 for 80 is a bit underwhelming, and you do have to discard an energy on this thing, but you also discard an energy on the opponent. So if you don't kill them outright, at least you neuter their energy a little bit. That's kind of cool. What does this guy do? Oh, it's Amnesia for 2 energy. Eh. Moving on. Not really anything to talk about. Next. There he is. There he is. Big steely boy. Energy removal 2. Elm's training method is actually a really important one to note as well. Search your deck for an evolution card. This did not get errata to say accept EXs, so we actually can use this to search out EX evolutions, and that is super important. So definitely good to note that this is in format because we will be using this quite heavily. Ooh, Steelix EX. Alright, so Metal Charge is fine. 70 per the damage counter on this thing. It's got 150 HP, you're fine with that. Can't be poisoned is somewhat neat because that can actually come up. Mudslide is basically just a fighting version of Volcanic Ash. And it's actually kind of scarily reminiscent of Blaziken too, actually. You've got the same sort of finale attack. It's got the same amount of HP as Blaze did. It's actually got 2 resistances though. It's kind of crazy. This thing is just all around nuts. There's so many buttons on this card. Yeah, this is the main attacker that we would see with Lugia, alongside Lugia in the Blastoise decks with the whole on engine. So it's not super good at the moment, but keep an eye on this because even next set it's going to be crazy. Moving on. We haven't seen Fortress yet. So Fortress puts 7 damage counters on itself, and then that KOs it, right? Unless you put the energy root on it, and you move all of the energy cards that are on it to your bench Pokemon. So you preserve the energy, you do 100 damage, which is probably KOing most things, and then you kill the Fortress. Somewhat underwhelming, to be honest, for how much energy you put in, but hey, maybe there's some use for it, I don't know. Could see it. Alright, next up. More of the Jolteon. Could have seen the other evolutions, would have been nice to have seen another Electabuzz, but did we even see the Elekid yet? The Elekid, I mean, all of the babies are rares, so I don't think we've even seen it yet. So these Electabuzz are like completely worthless right now, unfortunately. Yeah, we just saw like 3 Klepper in a row instead, so... Welp. Okay, last third. We haven't seen any Slowking, which is unfortunate. I don't think we're going to get to see that deck at this point. But you know what? If we're going to keep pulling these instead, I guess I can live with that. So Espeon, when you evolve into this, you devolve one of your opponent's benched Pokemon, which is kind of fun, so you can definitely do some good stuff with this. Snaptail, Snipe 30, fine. Psyloop, if your opponent's got a lot of tools in play, this is stupid good actually. 60 plus 30 for each trainer they have in play. If they have a Stadium in play, this is 90 for free. Zero Retreat too, very very good card. Can we see the Umbreon to go with that, actually? That would be really sweet. We've had a lot of EXs, so I shouldn't really hope too much, I guess. Murkrow, kind of a neat one. Only kind of, though. You probably play this in like a Marowak deck using Swoop Teleporter, because it's not something you want to keep in play for very long, right? You force the opponent to switch, put the new thing to sleep. It's the gusting part, really, that's the thing for this. Discarding all trainer cards is kind of fun, I suppose, but on 20 damage is not enough, you know. I don't think we've seen this yet, have we? Sudowoodo is a Mimic. Copies the opponent's attack. Gotta have the right energy cost for it, but Hold-On cards will help with that next set. So, again, maybe one for the future. What does this unknown do? If heads 2 damage counters on one of the opponent's Pokemon, if tails 2 damage counters on one of yours. I'm good, thanks. Next, Morebear. Is it Morebear or have we? I don't even know. There's so many cards in this I don't even remember what we have and haven't seen through the stuff here. I don't think we have seen this one yet. So yeah, let's go over it. It's not very good, unfortunately. If it's your active, the opponent's basics can't attack or use powers. Seems really nice, but we're in an evolution deck format, right? Everything that's good is an evolution card, so it doesn't get affected by this at all. Also, it's colorless, which means you can shut it off with Battle Frontier, and then you look at its attacks and it just does not do anything. So yeah, whoop-de frickin' do. 40 plus 20 on a coin flip, no thanks. Octillery, kind of in a similar boat. It stops the opponent retreating, which is pretty neat, but only does 30 damage by itself. You have to discard an energy for standing by, and that does make you do 120. You've got to stay in though. If the opponent like wall points or something, you lose that effect. So, pretty bad overall. Next up, nothing we haven't already seen. I think we haven't seen the Ho-Oh, but it's just not even worth talking about. If you flip heads for 4 energy, you snipe 60. Whoop-de-doo. Oh, there's one that Matt might be interested in, because Enki's got one of these already. Typhlosion Ex. This is supposed to be a really good card, actually. As long as it has 60 or less HP remaining, it does 40 more damage to the defending Pokemon. So it does like 80 for 2, which is actually really strong. Crosscut does 120 at that point for a boost energy. Like, wow, yeah, this card's numbers are great, to be honest. Can evolve from Cypher or Cypher EX. This is why I think rotation wasn't necessarily meant to happen. I don't think it did in Japan, actually, because Cypher EX is not something that we can play. So, yay. This Stantler is another thing that's actually really disruptive. 2 energy, 20 damage, look at the opponent's hand and discard a trainer there. So if you discard their only supporter, then you could probably screw quite a lot there. Really good with admin, actually. Definitely one to keep an eye out on. Alright, next up, another Cyclone. I think we're good on that now. So, moving on. How many have we got left? 5? Okay. Oh, Meganium. Wow, there's a wide variety of EXs here. Don't know if any of them are actually going to be super great for us here, though. Because I don't think we've got a consistent strategy for it. Nurture and Heal is really neat here, though. Attach grass energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, and if you do, heal 10 from that Pokemon. This could be an alternative for the Blastoise part of LBS, because you can use this to attach the energy, and then use that energy for the Hold-On stuff as your main attachment. Its actual attacks are expensive, but boost compatible at the very least. Razor Leaf isn't super strong, but just a decent general option, I guess. Power Poison discards an energy, so if you are using boost energy, this is the best one to do it with, and it's effectively 100 damage at that point. It's mostly support, but it can attack as well, which is the important bit. Alright, next. Second Blossom? It's kinda cool. More Solid Rage potentially as well. Don't think you need too many of these, because it does only work when you are behind, so probably not something you're attacking too much in. Hey, we actually get to see the Vaporeon. So this attaches a basic energy from the hand to one of your Pokemon, so could be a good Wally target. because you just like wally into this, get the water, and then just attack from there. The fact that it has to be a water though, specifically, might hurt that sort of thing. 2 packs left, what can we get? I think this might be the 4th energy route, so this is actually kind of good. And the last one, no Slowking at all, unfortunate. We did get Slow Bro, this is the wrong one. Dual armor on this thing again, so max of 50 damage is lame. Water Psychic I don't think is good enough typing to hit, to be honest. Parallel Gain is kind of cute, like remove a damage counter from each of your Pokemon. 20 for 1 energy is fine, but no, you really need to use it with the other one, so yeah, unfortunate. I don't know what we can build out of this, to be honest. It seems like a very disconnected draft. Very disconnected. Oh, I don't even have a sorter here. I should fix that real quick. Yeah, normally I have a sorted out. I don't know why I don't this time. It's kind of weird. Whatever. Let's bring these in. Remove our duplicates. Yeah, 73 seems about right. And let's see what we got. Is there anything consistent that we can do with this? Answer is probably not, but we will see. Spread our stuff here as well, and then in the spares, wow, we got a lot of warp energy, so I guess if people didn't get that, could maybe trade there. Nothing otherwise though. So, what did we actually grab? We did get 2 Blossom, so there could be something with that later on. The other one's like a water type or something, it's kind of weird, right? Steelix, just a 1 copy, but I think you only need 1 anyway, so that's interesting enough. The 1 Scizor is definitely weird. I think we might try and trade that to Matt, we'll see. I think he'd probably be interested in playing that, to be honest. He's got 1, maybe he can make it work at 2, I don't know. Lots of these, we didn't get the Flareon, unfortunately. I didn't even mention Vaporeon's status condition is Sleep, which is garbage, right? So, I don't know. The Flareon was Burn, so it's like Sleep, Burn, Confuse. Okay, did get 1 Espeon, no Umbreon though, so we might have to try and trade for that. This is where it gets a bit interesting. I didn't get Quilava. Oh, I'm gonna have to see what we picked up otherwise that way. The 1 Meganium, 1 Typhlosion, no for Alligator EX, which is unfortunate, but whatever. See, we got 2 of this Typhlosion and then the EX one. So maybe I do actually take that deck. That's gonna be a weird one. Yeah, 1 for Alligator would be trade stuff, 1 Pseudo-Widow, 1 Arthros, that's I guess fine. Not very many unknown actually, just a 4. Got a bit below par on that one. 1 Fari doesn't do much, yeah, the 1 Ursaring doesn't do much. Moving on, just a 1 Houndoom, so there is that. Ho-Oh EX, it's kind of fun, but again, as a one-off, it's not really going to happen. And then 2 Celebi, because this thing is glued to me here. So how many X's did we even get? Like 2, 3, where are we at? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's definitely well above average. Okay. Not as high as the 10 that Pepper got, but then he also got 3 Celebi X, so whatever. Let's see what we got down here. So, only counting the new stuff, we got my 4th copy of Recycle System is good. So only counting the new things, we got the maxed out Curse Powder, if we do decide that. Maxed out Energy Root is excellent, I really am glad to see that. 2 Fluffy Berry, there's 2 in the Meganium deck, so we'll see on this one. 3 Orb, there's 2 of this in that deck as well. 3 Citrus Berry, and 3 Solid Rage. It's pretty good. If we go over to these decks real quick actually, the options are taking the Meganium deck, which I didn't get any Meganium, so maybe I don't take this one. Oh, did we not get Mary's request? Oh, I just saw it, right. Did we not? We didn't. Wow, that's a big annoyance to miss. Mary's request, for the record, is draw 1 card, but draw 3 cards if you don't have a Stage 2 in play. So it's just TV Reporter, but better. Welp, I was hoping to actually pull some of those, but I guess we just didn't get that. I don't know. So the only reason really to take this deck is because of the Typhlosion, but simply because I have 2 of this already, that might be a consideration. So we have that, or we get like the Statler in here, as well as the Meganium and our 3-4 Fluffy Berry and like 4-5 Protective Orb. Decisions to make, huh? I did say I would go over the promos real quick. I think we could have had these legal for the Worlds of 5 format, but we weren't sure, so we just erred on the side of caution. Tropical Tidal Wave isn't very good anyway. Championship Arena might be played though. Gives players a hand size limit of 7, so that's kind of interesting. We may try this out in something. Rocket's Persian, maybe you could see this in Dragtrode, but I don't think it's that good, to be honest. Search deck for a Rocket or Dart Pokemon if it's on the bench. It's fine, but it's an EX that does that, right? So it's maybe too much of a liability, I think. Anyway, yeah, this turned out kind of interesting. Not really sure exactly what we're going to do with this, because I don't... Here's the problem with this draft, right? Like, there's a lot of interesting stuff in here, but I don't think there is, like, anything that I can actually build from this. Not in its current state. We are going to be taking a week off, so we're going to have, like, 2 weeks to potentially do trade stuff from this. And probably I'll be able to do something from there. I may just have to take the Typhlosion deck just to actually have access to Quilava, if nothing else though. So, it's such a weird one. Not really sure what to make of this. Doesn't seem too good, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed yourselves after this one. And yeah, we'll see you for games in a couple of weeks.